We've read all the email. It sticks. I wonder where Roll went. Can I get lost? He's got a little bit of a case of ADOS right here. He's talking about Dex, there he goes to Roll, and then asks Megaman something. And for those of you who do not know, ADOS is Attention Deficit Ooh Shiny. I apologize. Not usually. I wonder what happened. Oh well. Megaman, let's jack in and look for Roll. Good idea. Kinda worried about her. Alright. An excuse to get out of doing my homework. Oh, that's terrible. Oh, God. What are you grinning about, Lan? Anyway, to jack in, all you do is blah 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 blah. Okay, he's just giving you a little bit of tips on what to do in the beginning of the game, but I know what to do, and hello to the... Wow, that was dyslexic. Say hello to the hub world of the game. Yes, no matter what I do, I'm moving the sticks. I'm hitting the D-pad. I'm playing with my C-stick. It sounds like a euphemism. I digress. I can't leave here. Lan's just going to walk around in a circle all around his room and do absolutely nothing for the remainder of the game. Literally. That's it. So yeah, I guess this is the end of the What you need to do at this point, if you're kind of confused and you're pressing buttons rapidly trying to figure out what to do, press the start button to look at your pt. Huzzah! And take a look at this, everybody. We can talk to Megaman, we can look at our email, we can look at our folder, subchips, Megaman, the map, keys, library. We can jack out, but you can't jack out if you haven't jacked in. Lesson to be learned. Items, your controls, which only changes a little bit of the system of what you're doing. That's about it. But yeah, you can't make it so that the text moves faster, so that you don't have to just skip all the text or anything like I usually do. I usually make the text go as fast as it possibly can. And you can also save your game, which I'm not going to be doing right now. First of all, I'm going to look at the talk thing. This is exactly like whenever you're playing Battle Network, or Battle Network 2, or Battle Network 3, or Battle Network 4, or Battle Network 5, or possibly Battle Network 6, which I've never played before. But I'm going to play eventually. After I've done all the other ones before it. Dear God, I've got a lot of LPs left. But those aren't going to be my only LPs, so I digress. Whenever you go to the talk menu, it's just like pressing the L button in any of the Battle Network games. Megaman, or if you're on the net, Lan will talk to you and explain something. At least I think that works when you're on the net too. I don't know. Net too? Not too? Saw too? Where the hell did that come from? Oh well. You can select Lan's house from the map, and jack into the net. Hold on, Mega Man, I'm not ready yet. You can look at your email, which I've already read all of them, so yeah. You can look at your folder. What about my chips? I want to see what happened to my chips. Where did all of them go? Where did they all go? Where are my chips? Stone body. What? Recover 10, recover 30, what? Why did I recover, I think 300, 100, I think 200? I never used a repair chip. I rarely ever use the guard chips. I don't think that I've ever seen that chip. Oh. Three-way. I've got no problem with that, just as long as it's not with Metors. I'm sorry. Rat. Wrecker. Okay. So, although at the end of Battle Network 1, Lan used an M cannon, which is the strongest form of cannon that you can possibly get, in order to kill the Aura virus, or drop its shields at least. You don't get the M cannon anytime soon. In fact, all you have right now is cannons and all these starter weapons, the things that I gave up in the beginning of Battle Network. Including, like, the Shockwave. Yeah, Shockwave. I got rid of that as soon as I ran into the things that gave me the Sonic Waves. And then I got rid of the Sonic Waves as soon as I ran into the enemies that dropped the Dino Waves. English is not that difficult, come on. But there's something that you may have noticed. There's no letter system. There's only one of every one of these chips in your pack. In your folder, sorry. And there's no letter system. Well, why is that? Well, whenever you start out the game, you have a bunch of chips that just kind of left my mind right there. Whenever you put your chips from your pack into your folder, okay. Let's just say you're switching out the cannons for the high cannons. Take a look at... There's nothing in my pack. Okay, take a look at the far right side of the screen. You see how it says 10 of 10? 10 of 10, 5 of 5, 2 of 2, 10 of 10. Okay. As you can see at the top of the screen, it says folder 20. That means I've got 20 chips in my folder. I think that's the maximum number of chips you can possibly have in your folder. Okay. So what is the 10 of 10 and 5 of 5 and 2 of 2? What does that have to do with anything? Well, that means that you have that many of that chip in your pack, in your folder. Keep doing that. That means that you don't have to worry about the whole letter system. Whenever you choose the cannon, you'll have 10 cannons to fire off. Whenever you use the shotgun, you'll have 10 shotguns to fire off. When you use a V-gun, haha, V-gun, you'll have 5 of them to fire off, which is awesome. It's always good to know this stuff. And I think, I'm not quite sure, but that also means that you can do like 2 versions of the program advance with your sword, wide sword, and long sword. I might be wrong. I might be wrong. But that's what I think, at least. And what about those little squares at the bottom of the ship's little symbol on the left side of the screen, above the description? Well, I'll explain that later. More on that when we get further in. Subchips. There's nothing. I'll explain the subchips whenever we get to them. Right now you're probably like, what the hell is a subchip? I'll explain those later. More on that when we get. Megaman, let's see how strong he is. 80 HP? What the hell is MP doing in this? I don't need magic power. And backups? What? What the hell is a backup? Well, in the Megaman universe. In the Battle Network universe. What the hell is a backup? I don't know. Apparently, Land downgraded Megaman, which makes no sense. His armor apparently is normal. Does that mean it gets damaged over time? Ah, and if I click it, it gets angry at me. Ah, I don't have any power-ups. I'll have to upgrade Mega Man whenever I get the power-ups and stuff, but right now it looks kind of dumb that Land downgraded Mega Man. I mean, come on. Seriously? You're an idiot. But yeah, the backups, those are your extra lives. Yeah, there's a life system in this game. Kind of odd, huh? This is probably the only Mega Man game that... Okay, the only Battle Network game that incorporates a life system in it. So, yeah. And I have no Zinni... Man, really? You've gotten rid of all my money? You've gotten rid of all my chips? You've gotten rid of everything? Seriously? Get your head out of your... never mind. Key items! I can look at my PET from my PET! Huzzah! That makes sense. Those are all the important items. You can look at your chips and your program advances in the library. Apparently there's a total of 14 program advances and... Screw that up. 137 chips in the library. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get all of the chips, just because that's part of what you had to do in order to 100% the game. There's something that happens whenever you get all of the chips, just like in Battle Network 1. And just like in every other Battle Network game, but this one's going to be the harder one of those when it comes down to that. Items, I don't have any. Jack out, you can't jack out if you haven't jacked in. But yeah, and if you want to go back to this little boring hub screen, press the B button. Land kind of looks like, I think, the Pokemon trainer from Ruby, Sapphire, and Emerald. Now that I think about it. I digress. That's not important. Quick, digress while there's still time. There's no time. This is 30 minutes of me talking and just blabbing on. But I've gotten all the important stuff out of the way, so I can finally look at the map. Awesome. Let's jack into the net from Land's house. Now let's digress while there's still time. This is how you go about the world. In order to jack into somewhere, you don't go to your PC from your house, like go into your house, go upstairs to your PC. You just click on your house, which is kind of dumb. In order to do stuff for other... Fine, Dr. Wally. In order to do stuff at other people's houses, you click on their house too, whenever it pops up. But right now we can't do that. Whenever you want to go to Higsby's and look at the shop, hey, welcome to Higsby's, You can take a look at, okay, this is a sub-chip. It's mini energy. It replenishes a small amount of HPs. HPs, plural? Yeah, you can take a look at all these chips. You can buy the chips if you have money, but I kind of wasted all my money between Battle Network 1 and this. How do you get rid of all of that in, like, not even a month? I mean, seriously. Was he gambling lottery tickets or something? I digress. Another thing that you might not... Another thing you might notice. Whenever you go somewhere like Higsby's shop, it had a red logo, a red S on it. Whenever I left, it had a blue S. That means that there's nothing new, there's nothing important, nothing brand new, like, oh my god, you had to look at this. Nothing plot related, nothing that will catch your eye that you haven't already seen before, whenever you click it. So, and this will happen also whenever you go into other people's PC. The main one is always going to be yours, because I think you can access everything from your house. These other ones that will pop up are shortcuts later on. But, that's neither here nor there. Whenever you've entered your house and come back out, I think that this will stay red, meaning, okay, you still have something to do whenever you go in there. And I think that if you do that to someone else's house, I think that theirs will stay red whenever you leave their houses, if they're the closer access point to where you need to go. If that makes sense. I don't know if it does. If it's plot specific that you have to go to their house, then it'll stay red, I think, if I remember right. But I digress. We're going to finally jack into the net and take a look at what it's like in this game. Jack into the net from Land's PC? Hell yeah! And the trippiness commences. Trippiness. Oh, wow! Jack into the net, complete. What's it like, Mega Man? Like nothing we've ever seen before. Or if you're a Mega Man fan, then like everything you've seen before. Huh. I think there's more viruses than there used to be. Even though the World 3's gone? Yeah. We'll have to be careful, Lamb. It's been a while since we've busted viruses, so let's review how we did it. Okay. Although, busting viruses in this game is absolutely nothing like any other game. Mega Man, I sent you chip data. Alright, people, this is our little chip select screen, or the custom screen. Yeah, get out of it, get out of it. Stop explaining stuff, I'm gonna explain myself. Here's our chips. As I said before, we can select one We can select all these chips because of the letter system not being here. We don't have to worry about getting a cannon C and a V-gun C, or 2 cannons that have different letters, or anything of that nature. All we have to remember is there's 5 cannons, well, 10 cannons, 5 V-guns, 10 mini-bombs, 2 stone bots, and 2 burners. Now, something you might notice on the right side of the screen. Whenever I click the chip, it pops up on that little list. What does that mean? That means you can only have up to 5 chips whenever you're outside of the custom gauge, whenever you're going and fighting. So whenever you don't choose all the chips and you just click OK, whenever the custom gauge comes back and fills up again, you can come back in here and you'll have a total of 5 extra chips plus the chips that you didn't select. So if I just chose a cannon and I exited out, then I'll have a total of 9 chips when I come back. It's always neat. It's always neat to know. Dear God, English is not that difficult. Why is it being so difficult for me? I digress. But if I decide to click out without choosing all the chips, then Megaman will get angry at me. So yeah. Another thing. To the left of the screen. Any of you huge Mega Man nerds like myself will notice a couple of common things in the Mega Man universe. First of all, there is the yellow gauge, which is your HP gauge. Once that hits 0, you're dead. And at the bottom of that, like below the Mega Man logo, we've only got 1 extra life, so be careful, okay? But to the right of that, to the right of the HP gauge, is an MP gauge. Well, what's the point of the MP gauge? Well, if you notice right here, at the bottom of our chips, it says 32 MB, not MP, which is weird. Megabytes, I guess. 8 MB. 8 MB, 8 MB, 8 MB. That means that we only have... That means that whenever we use one of those chips, it will waste that much of the MP. We have 80 MP, remember? So if we use this, the burner, and a stone body, then we will have 40 MP left. If we use 2 of them, we'll have no MP left. If we use all 10 of my cannons, we have no MP left. These are good things to note, because you don't want to be in a boss fight and be low on MP, although you can't look at it, there's not going to be like a number or anything. It'll actually make sense how you can tell how much MP you have and how much you need whenever we get out of here. You don't want to have very little MP and then try and fight a boss and get screwed over, you know? Anyway, let's go on in. Now, a couple things you might notice from the get-go. Yes, this is like any other Mega Man game. But there's a custom gauge on the top of the screen, just like in whenever we're in combat in Mega Man Battle Network. Whenever you press the L button or the R button, you switch between your chips. And something you might notice when I switch from the burner to the stone body, or from the stone body, from the burner to the cannon, look at the MP gauge. You see that? The darkened part is how much of that chip we've used. How much we've used. How much we have. How much we use whenever we use the chip. So, let's just say I use, I don't know, burner? I've used that much of that chip. Now, your MP will come back over time, which is always good. I think that there's enemies that you can kill and they'll like drop items to up your MP over time. But like it'll give you MP regeneration, just like there's some for HP regeneration, just like any Mega Man game. But it's just good to note that whenever you use a chip, you regain MP over time. You can also press the B button in order to use your Mega Buster whenever we get the charge, Like, whenever we boost that, we'll be able to charge the buster, just like always. Whenever you want to use your chip, press the Y button. Whenever you want to go into the standby mode, press the X button. You can switch between your chips without worrying about getting hit or anything like that, using your L and R buttons. So if you're fighting a boss, there are bosses in this game, if you can't tell by my little pattern, and you're really struggling, press the X button. That'll be your best friend. That'll be your best way of switching between your chips. It's always good to remember that. But yeah, now that I've explained all this, let's rock. Oh, and we got a Meteor. Hello, buddy. Oh, fun fact. You can kill them when their hats are down. That's something brand new to this little game. In every other game, unless you use something really powerful in the Battle Network series, you can't kill them when their hats are down. But the effect of them putting their hats down... Well, first of all, there are 2 Meteors up ahead. We can use a cannon here for an easier fight. Use the V-gun. Huh. Shots of the V-gun will arc in a V, hitting the enemy behind it and the enemy... Well, the enemy behind it and above it, or the enemy behind it and below it, as well as the enemy itself. For example... Where did it go? What? Glitch? The enemy is not spawning right here. He's supposed to spawn right there. Okay. Alright. I'll smack the wall and it'll work. You can also hit walls and hit the enemy that way too, which is really good. I guess the fact about the Meteors that make them kind of difficult to deal with whenever they drop their helmets is the fact that they're a lower target, so it's a lot harder to hit them, you know? So certain attacks won't hit a Meteor whenever they're dropped down. Analyzing mystery data. The mystery data contains 50 zinny!